My love squad, what's good? So, I am so excited because I am finally reviewing my other favorite show after a long hiatus. It took a little break. This is fandom for Fargo Season 4, Episode 1. Welcome to the alternate economy. I'm so here for it. I was patiently waiting. All right. So, spoiler alert. If you haven't watched it, let me tell you something. Like this video, add it to your like list, and come back and watch it later for clarification if you don't want the episode ruined. You've been warned. So first, let's get into the people, okay? We meet our narrator. Her name is Ethelrita. She's a mixed girl who endures corporal punishment because, back in the day, they used to be beating your behind in class because she's too uppity or smart for her own good, okay? The child is she's very grounded, a very grounded, intelligent, thoughtful kid. And it's really tough when you're a kid who's smarter than most of the adults around you. That's really tough. So we have her. She gives us a brief history of the bosses and syndicates of the past until we're caught up to the series' present day settings in the 1950s. We see the first syndicate, or I don't know what you want to say, battle, mob boss battle between the Jews and the Irish. First it was the Jewish mafia, then we got the Irish mob. They had a showdown and they decided to do this first sons visits where they exchanged sons as a show of faith so that, they can keep the peace. The thinking is, you won't kill me if I have your son because I will kill him, right? We see a couple double crosses, though, of course, because gangsters are what? They are untrustworthy. So people getting their karma, right? The Irish betray the Jews, and then the Irishmen are later on, they get betrayed by the Italians. And then we have the Italians and the black people, the black mob, okay? So that's where we're at. And like I said, I should say gangsters in general, gangsters can't be trusted, right? They can't be, they can't. That's just not a part of what happens in gangster life. So there is that. There's a lot going on. The narrator's family owns a mortuary that caters to different families and ethnicities based on need. And like I said earlier, Ethelrita is mixed. She does look black, but she is mixed. And, the family does their business accordingly. So the mother is the black face for the black families when they're having their funerals. The father is a white face for their families when they're having their funerals. But the thing about it is they get into a bit of trouble and they have to request a loan from Lloyd Cannon, who is the black mob boss, played by Chris. Oh my God, why am I having a brain freeze right now? Chris Rock. My brain was just like, I'm not gonna cooperate. Chris Rock. All right. So Chris Rock is Lloyd Cannon, and when I saw the previews for this new season, he was who we saw. He's the headliner, and I was just like, oh, so excited. So we have this character, and he's so hot. You're not here for my dating purposes. I'm gonna just say that he's hot. So we have him, and he has to deal with the typical stuff that black people have been dealing with for 400 years now. And he's trying to get his credit card idea off the ground because he's a genius, but he hasn't had any luck, Number one, he's black, and number two, credit cards are incomprehensible at this time, which is, if you've studied crypto or done anything related to money, then you already know what I'm talking about. It takes a very, very long time for different forms of currency to be accepted. There was a point in time when dollar bills were not accepted, you guys. It takes a long time. So, the banker that he went to recruit for his business idea was just like, what? Nobody's going to ever use this. Well, he was wrong. So there's that. And then Laura has to deal with the Italians, the Fada family. Papa Fada dies, and then there's a power struggle between brothers. We have the brother who's just off the boat, who's air quotes not American, and then Justo, the drug addict who is American, and seems to be running the show for now. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. We already know there's going to be a power struggle, so we'll see how that plays out. Shout out to Lloyd's assistant, Dr. Senator. That is the blackest name I've ever heard in my life. The man's name is Dr. Senator. That reminds me of my mom. She purposely, okay, my sister has a very Afrocentric name. I'm not going to say what it is. But then I came along and she named me Kimberly because she wanted my name to look good on a resume. It's so funny, like how names and all this stuff like plays into like politics and just where parents' hearts and heads and minds are at when they're giving birth to these children. Dr. Senator, shout out to him and his alma mater, which is Howard University. All right. So then we meet Nurse Ratchet. I can't remember Nurse Ratchet's name. I just nicknamed her Nurse Ratchet. I think I might need to do I'm gonna have to look up her name later. But she is Nurse Ratchet. We meet Nurse Ratchet, who is from where else? Minnesota, right? I was like, they had this is Fargo. Minnesota had to be tied up in there some kind of way. Minnesota. And she's generally crazy and murderous, hence why I call her Nurse Ratchet, but also progressive in her way. She's quirky. She's quirky. I would not F with her because she's crazy, but yeah. She is captivated by Miss Ethelrita. That poor girl. I'm concerned for her already at that school that she's at and dealing with the foolishness that she has to endure. But then she attracts the attention of this crazy lady. And Ethelrita is really quirky in her own way. So I know that Nurse Ratchet is resonating to Ethelrita's spirit, but Ethelrita is like, quirky or nah, you crazy. Like, I can't. And even though she's quirky, she's definitely more grounded than Nurse Ratchet. So, they have this interesting dynamic going on. And later, Nurse Ratchet sends Ethelrita a pie. She told her she was, but she laced it with medication that I'm guessing is meant to sedate her because, like I said, she is super cray-cray. She's cray-cray. She has a very fancy but precise vocabulary and uses words like miscegenation. And I ain't heard that word in so long. That is such an old word. I knew what she meant, but I was like, let me just look this up for more precision. So just for those of you who are like, what? And you didn't Google it, miscegenation is the act of folks from different ethnicities having babies together. Makes it so much easier to say. All right. Then we have Nurse Ratchet. Okay. She's going around, in her eyes, she's straight up murdering people. But as far as she's concerned, she's mercy killing these people. She mercy kills Papa Fada, who was accidentally shot in the neck by heathen kids playing with BB guns in the park. That's why we don't do BB guns no more. Okay. And, the Fada son tries to take his daddy to the private hospital, but they're racist and they don't want nothing to do with Italians because like I said earlier, the air quotes, they're not American. They're still being very racist. They're the new group that's fresh off the boat or whatever, so they have a problem. Typical American behavior. I suspect that Nurse Ratchet and Justo Fada will be an item in the future because they're both crazy, both of them, and they're like the same kind of crazy. I could see them working together. Nurses have very good skills. They know how to do stuff that can come in handy, I should say, if you're a criminal, and especially if you're a murdering criminal. So we'll see that happen. Now let's explore some concepts. So we have the concept of this country disenfranchising immigrants and people doing what they must, crime included in that, okay, to take care of their families. We have the alternate economy going on right now. This is a result of that. If you can't give me what I need, then I'm going to take it. Feel how you feel about it. Period. Feel how you feel. So there's that. The tradition of everyone hating Black people as a part of their assimilation process It's exhausting. I'm over it. It is what it is. The concept of looking rich, aka how to stay broke your entire life. We see Lloyd talk about this when he's trying to sell his whole credit card idea. He was definitely ahead of his time with this. He understood something that banks, slow, old, antiquated institutions as they are, although very powerful, albeit very powerful, they just weren't there yet. Okay, so we have that whole not even keeping up with the Joneses, but looking like you're keeping up with the Joneses situation, which is very common these days. Okay, so we have that going on. Now let's get into some of my favorite scenes. We have the school scenes. I love the school scenes. It just, I don't know, they were just so interesting to watch. And school is horrible. And it's not designed for learning, it's designed for programming. That's what school is. It's a programming factory. Okay. I like, angry face. The world would be such a better place if our schools were actually the temples of knowledge they're supposed to be. Such a waste having to unlearn almost everything you just learned, because that's what happens after you graduate. You unlearn everything. But the funny thing is that that's consciousness and expansion, and that's how we actually learn. So it's crazy. Like, school is set up to program us, and then it's our jobs to deprogram ourselves and learn through that. You guys know that I am an intuitive series watcher. So you're going to get stuff like this from me because I be thinking on the level when I'm watching my series, and I'm here for it. Okay. So there is that. I felt so sorry for the baby. Oh, I felt so sorry for Miss Ethelrita. Okay. She couldn't even sit in her chair because of all the unnecessary ego trip beatings she was getting. Ooh, this brought up some stuff for me because I used to get ego trip beatings too. It is what it is. Parents, I love you, but nah. Unnecessary whoopings and spankings and stuff. Like, I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it. Parents, you need to be more conscious. You really, really do. So we have that going on. Ethelrita shares a great Winston Churchill quote, which is, "History is written by the victors." We are seeing that right now with the current presidential situation. History is written by the victors, period. The child handler's advice. I think he's Irish, but he works for the Italian mob. I think that's what's going on. Him. The child handler's advice was to be who you need to be. Don't forget who you are, when he was swapping kids with Lloyd, right? That is great advice. I'm going to say that again. Be who you need to be. Don't forget who you are. I think that is so important because, sometimes you have to operate a certain way in this world. It is what it is. Is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know. It is though. But it is though. I think it's wise. Okay. Sometimes that has nothing to do with what's right or wrong. It's very wise advice. So there's that. And then the fathers meet. This was probably my favorite scene. When the fathers meet for the first check-in at the park, and the father's son, I forget his name, the cray one that I know is going to hook up with Nurse Ratchet later, he walks over to where the black gangsters are standing, and they're jive talking and doing all of this and that, having a little conversation, and he tries to talk us, and the interaction was just so classic. Okay, the back and forth was just such a pleasure to watch. I just loved it. I was here for it. Oh my God. What? You say what a lot. What? I think you're confused. Like, that whole bit was just so good. Don't come for people unless you want them to come back. And then don't be mad when they come back. For real. I won't be understanding why people do stuff like that. So anyways, that was my favorite scene. We also have Ethelrita's dad, who is really a hippie. He's like a couple decades too before his time. And I was like, flower child. He was such a flower child. But here he was. And he had a really beautiful little quote tidbit that he gave Ethelrita because she was concerned about how she was going to be able to exist in this world. Very good concerns to have. Don't know if most 16-year-olds have them, but some do. Some do. So that child is deep. She's a deep child. So he said to her, there's a place for all of us in this world. You just have to find it. Oh, I would say to that yeah, there is a place and you do have to find it, but some of us have to take machetes and cut down crap along the way to finding it. That's a little bit more of a realistic a depiction of that thought. But it was such a, I just loved it. I think it's so sweet. Oh, I like the hippie dad because I'm a hippie. Like, I get it. So, we are going to get into tidbits. Okay, so let's do a few quick tidbits. First, I'm a little bummed out because it's still great and it's still Fargo, but it feels different. Like, I know the type for it to be, oh, because that's been a part of the whole Fargo experience, knowing that it masterminds. But the story is rich and complex and there's a lot of meat on the bone. So it's still great and it's a great escape that still parallels present times in some way. And, that's great. One thing I love about Fargo historically is that things somehow get crazier and crazier as the series progresses. Like, if you think it's crazy now, wait till you get to like episode 5. I mean, I'm here for it. I hope that they stick to that tradition. But so far, so good. I'm happy. I'm happy. So, which mob boss are you rooting for? Comment below with a little hat emoji. Let me know which team you're for. Let me know. And then let's talk a little bit about the Lloyd Cannon character, Chris Rock's character. So I found out that he's based on James Doc Dearborn, a KC mob boss who teamed up with the Italian mob back in the day until his eventual death in 1985. I mean, they was running things for a minute. A hot minute. Dang. Like, this is like dynasty level mob boss stuff. They was in this for a minute, killing politicians, drugs, all the gangstery things they were doing. So check out gangsterreport.com for more information about that. And one more thing, just a little ting, okay? Multilingual people. We got to see lots of people in this episode who don't look like they speak other languages. You would be surprised, okay? So don't assume that people who don't look like you don't speak your language or can't understand you, okay? Myself included in that group, you would be surprised, okay? I have stories about things that have been said in passing that people thought I didn't hear or understand because they wasn't speaking English. They just assume. Don't do that. Karma is real. And on that note, we're going to end there. I am so excited. They did a double feature, so I'll be back with the second recap and analysis real soon. I have new editing software, so I'm going to be able to get these out sooner, and I'm excited about that. My name is Kim, aka @GlamPowered. This is Fandom. Comment, like, subscribe. Thank you so much, and stay blessed, not stressed.